are on Facebook. Rain's moving in. You noticed the change in the weather yesterday with the clouds and the breeze, more moisture coming in. We had some rain in our northern counties yesterday. We're going to get rain, maybe some thunderstorms tonight and tomorrow as a storm system and a cold front come in. Now this cold front is going to stall out. It's not going to make it cold, but it is going to lift the atmosphere and give us some rain and thunder. And in fact, it is already doing so here in central Texas. We've got some rain, and lo and behold, we're talking about lightning safety today. We've got lightning. We've got thunderstorms showing up on the radar. We have a system that tracks all the lightning strikes across the planet. It's important to track lightning for several reasons, not only for safety, because lightning is so dangerous, and again, we're going to talk about lightning safety today, but also for the meteorologists and for forecasting. Lightning detection is an invaluable tool because it tells me that there is convection, there's up and down motion inside those storms. That's the only way you get lightning, is up and down, significant up and down motion inside of a storm. And that tells me the storm is strong and can dump heavy rain. So when I see lightning showing up, and that's what those little dots are. In fact, let's take a closer look at this. Let's start the lesson. So we got storms coming our way for tonight. They're already producing lightning, so we're probably going to see some lightning and thunder here in southeast Texas and Houston tonight. Great. So here's what it looks like on the radar zooming in here to central Texas. There's Fredericksburg. Probably some of you have been there. Let's see, Mason, Llano. Llano Estacado is a vineyard out there. There's Junction. All right, so you can see we've got lightning mixed in with the heavy rain. Now let me separate the rain from the lightning strikes, and this is really the cool part of lightning detection. So we can track, we know where every individual lightning strike happens with our nationwide and really global lightning detection system. We use cell towers, we use lightning detection sensors, and we triangulate, and so we can pinpoint every single lightning strike. And you may notice that some of these look a little different. You've got the ones that are a little ball and ones that look like a lightning bolt. So, oh, you see that plus? And it put in a lightning bolt, so that's a strike that just happened, and that's a positive strike. You have two types of strikes. You've got negative strikes. Those are the little round balls. Those are the weaker ones. Those are 10, 12,000 degrees, maybe up to 20,000 degrees. But the positive strikes are the ones that quite often jump off the top of the cloud, and they are much stronger. Those are the ones that can go to 50,000 degrees. And I want to know how many positive and negative strikes we've got going, because the more positive strikes I see, that tells me that the storm is really growing. It's a big one. And especially if we have other conditions in play that could make it tornadic, and I see positive strikes and I see a lot of lightning, I know that storm is growing rapidly, and it helps us, at least tag a storm like that and be like, okay, this one could produce severe weather and it's something to watch. So every one of these dots, so this is a lightning strike in the past 10 minutes. What I've got my display set up to do is the bright ones, see what that just happened, the bright ones are the ones that just happened, and then once about 5, 6, 7 minutes passes, they age, and then eventually after 10 minutes they'll disappear. All I want to see is what's happened in the last 10 minutes so I can get a good idea of how intense the storm is right now. This one's producing more and more lightning. This one's growing in intensity right now. I can tell just by looking at the lightning. I don't even have to look at the radar. I can tell by the lightning strikes. So it's a great forecasting tool. It's also very, very dangerous because of its heat and electrical qualities that are massive. Let's just do a refresher on how lightning happens. At the cloud base, we get a buildup of negative charges. Opposites attract, so that huge buildup of negative charges at the cloud base, which is sometimes just a few hundred feet off the ground, that will attract a bubble or a bulge of positively charged particles right at the surface. And once those two bubbles, the positive and the negative, get big enough, it's called creating a potential for something to happen. Nature wants to balance this imbalance. It's not in balance right now. We've got too much on each side. So what does Mother Nature do? She makes a lightning bolt, which basically acts like a wire and connects the positive and negative charges. The positive charges then race up the channel created from the cloud, and things go back into balance for a little while until a new imbalance is created and we get another lightning flash. And see here, back in balance, equal number of positive and negative particles at the cloud base and the surface. And again, those are the negative strikes. In other words, they come from the negative part. They originate from, I'm going to show you this again, they originate from the negative charge. This sends down what's called a step leader. And then what happens is that those positive charge race up that channel, and that's what causes the flash. But the positive strikes, you'll get positive charges that build up at the top of the cloud. You have to have a bigger charge to get one of these bolts to come off the top of the cloud, and that's why those are the ones that are so dangerous. Oh, and so Russ Lewis is standing by, getting ready for the floor, getting ready for a press conference. Who's watching, and who can I give a shout out to?
Oh, a lot of people. I'll give you a couple names here. Say hi to Jonathan, who's 10.
Hey, Jonathan. Hello, 10-year-old Jonathan. Nice to have you here.
And we have one more here that I have a question for you.
All right.
Mike is in the 2nd grade.
Hi, Mike. How are you doing? Welcome.
Micah.
Micah. Hi, Micah. 2nd grader. Nice to have you here.
So here's the question. I'll learn something about this, too, if this is indeed true. So Cameron, 2nd grade.
Hey, Cameron.
And Hudson in kindergarten.
All right.
They both want to know how lightning helps plants.
Oh, yeah, sure it does. Cameron and Hudson. Great question. So the atmosphere, the air, is mostly nitrogen. Nitrogen is plant food. When lightning strikes, it changes the molecular quality of the nitrogen in the air and makes it more water soluble. That means it can be dissolved into water. Well, when you've got lightning, quite often you've also got raindrops. So a lightning flash makes that nitrogen in the air water soluble. The rain falls, it collects that nitrogen, drops it to the ground where the plants are growing, gets it to the roots, and it helps feed the plants. That's a great question. Yes, lightning releases free nitrogen so it can become plant food. Good one. Eh? One more like that, and then we'll continue.
You just taught me something.
Those
two asked a very intelligent question.
Thunderstorms are interesting things.
Yeah, just a lot of people tuning in here watching. I'll see if I get into the question here.
If you get into the good one, let me know.
I will.
In the meantime, we'll continue on. Great question, Micah. So here we go. Continuing on. We've balanced out. We've had our lightning strike. Lightning can reach a temp as hot as 50,000 degrees. So remember the sun, the surface of the sun that's so hot, that's 10,000 degrees. So lightning can go to 50,000 degrees. It can also leap 25 miles or more from a storm. So a storm in the distance that you can hear the rumbles of thunder, you're in range of lightning if it were to jump off the top of that cloud. It can jump up to 25 miles away. That's called a bolt from the blue. We talked about that yesterday, and those are very, very dangerous. And then more than 50% of lightning deaths. This is dangerous stuff as well. It feeds plants, and it can hurt. Occur after the storm has passed, and you think it's safe, the rain stops, but then a lightning bolt comes in. Yes, Russ?
Okay, here we go. This may be a typo. It says Tristran.
Okay.
Not Tristan, but
Tristran,
Tristran.
Tristan, it's okay either way.
All right, 4th grade wants to know how lightning affects a tornado.
Oh, good question. So sometimes tornadoes you'll get some lightning strikes that happen right inside a tornado. There are some pictures on that around. It's beautiful, but as far as we know, lightning strikes do not change the direction or the strength of a tornado. That's a great question. And as far as we understand, no, lightning does not impact a tornado's violent rotation. Great question, though.
Okay, Preston, 7th grade.
Hey, Preston.
What does a positive and a negative lightning strike look like? Are there any differences?
Yeah, there are differences. When you've got a positive, so let's start with the weak one. So here's a cloud. Tell me the name again.
Preston.
Preston wants to know the difference between a positive and negative strike. Do they look different? How are they different? Negative strikes occur at the cloud base. They are usually smaller and less intense. Positive strikes come off the top of the cloud and quite often strike away from the storm. Those positive strikes are much stronger. They're brighter. As far as we understand, they're not much bigger. So this opens the door to a great question. How big is a lightning bolt? How thick is a lightning bolt? So everybody take your finger and hold it up and take a good look at it. That's how thick a lightning bolt is. That lightning bolt, that finger you've got in front of you, can be as hot as 50,000 degrees in that bolt. And they're all about the same diameter, about the width of your finger. But the negative ones are not as strong. The positive ones are much stronger and much brighter.
So if there's a lightning strike and there are no clouds overhead, if it's way over there,
Yeah.
it's probably a positive.
Yes, and those are the really dangerous ones, because to get a strike that leaps that far away, you have to have a gigantic difference in charges, the positive at the top and the negatives at the bottom. It has to be huge to get that connection to happen, and that's why those positive strikes that jump away from the storm are so much more dangerous.
What makes thunder?
Lightning. So here's how it works. that little lightning bolt that's only as thick as your finger, it's the heat from the lightning. Let's just take a 10,000 degree strike. So it instantaneously heats up a very small channel of air, and it's just so hot that thin little channel of air, well, it basically kind of explodes, and it sends out a shock wave. And that's a sound wave. And so the light that you see travels at the speed of light. So you see that light instantly, and then you have to wait for that sound wave to travel. You have to wait, and
Much slower.
And then it hits you. Right. So if you want to know how far a lightning strike is from where you were, when you see the flash, start counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, boom. So it takes 5 seconds for the sound from a lightning bolt to travel 1 mile. So if you count to 5 and then you hear the thunder, that lightning strike was 1 mile away. There it is.
One more here.
Yep.
From Nikki, 5th grade.
Hey, Nikki in the 5th grade.
Can lightning change color?
Well, it's white light. It's a great question. Great question, Nikki. It's white light, but remember, it's going to be traveling through sometimes clouds, different densities of atmosphere. And so we talked about this a couple of days ago, how that white light can be bent by by raindrops, by ice crystals, and when it bends, it exposes the color spectrum inside the light. So sometimes they can appear green or bluish or orange or yellowish. That's all because of the type of atmosphere the light is traveling to you between the stroke and where you're standing. But at its core, it's a flash of pure white light. It's the different layers of atmosphere that bend the light that can reveal different colors. Great, great question. All right, so lightning strikes. How did that get in there? The sun. The surface of the sun that you look up at is 10,000 degrees. If let's say you cook spaghetti for dinner tonight, that's really hot water, right? Well, that's only 212 degrees Fahrenheit to boil water. So it gives you an idea of just how incredibly hot the sun is. That's 10,000 degrees for the sun. Lightning strike is 50,000 degrees, so 5 times the heat of a surface of the sun. Those are those positive bolts, the really strong ones. That's just to give you an idea of what the type of forces we're dealing with here. Lightning tends to strike tall objects, like a tree. We talked about this yesterday. The charge wants to take the quickest route to the positive charges at the ground. This is for a negative strike. They want to take the quickest route, and quite often a tall object, like a tree, makes it the easiest route. So you don't want to stand under a tree. That is one of the most dangerous places you can be during lightning. You can tell if a tree has been hit by lightning. See that little stripe of bark that's been stripped off right there? That's where the powerful electrical current raced through the tree, down the tree trunk, and quite often it splits the bark. And I've seen it where it's kind of coiled around the tree. Again, that electricity is just going to take what's called the path of least resistance. Whatever it is, that'll be the path that it takes. Sometimes it can literally explode a tree as it heats up the water inside. This was a dead tree, it looks like. It heated up the water that was inside, and that heat suddenly turned to steam. The water turned to steam and just exploded that tree. Another just observation of how strong these strikes are. So it likes to strike tall objects. Well, here is a lightning strike caught striking the Empire State Building. Now, it's a little faded here because it's during heavy rain. Lightning strikes usually where the heaviest rain is. That's where most lightning strikes will occur. So this is most likely a negative strike, a weaker one, hitting the Empire State Building. There's the outline of the Empire State Building. So are you safe if you're inside the Empire State Building and it gets hit by lightning? Are you safe in your house if it gets hit by lightning? Well, you are. Those are the places to be, because the building, first of all, these big buildings have so much metal skin and metal in the windows and the outside that that electrical current will travel through the skin and the plumbing of the building and down to the ground. Now, the Empire State Building and all the tall buildings in New York, and most of them here in Houston, have lightning suppression systems. So we actually have a copper wire that's designed, and they have copper wire stuck all over the top of these tall buildings. And it's designed to attract a lightning bolt, and the electricity is then taken to the ground by that copper wire. That's lightning suppression. So you want to get inside one of these buildings to be safe. Even though they're most likely to be struck, inside is where you're safe. What about your car? Are you safe if lightning hits your car? Most likely, yes. This is a great alternative if a building is not available. Stay in your car. Keep your hands on your lap. Don't touch the windows or anything electrical inside the car, and just wait it out. Because let's say lightning hits this car. Here it comes. And it hits the car. What happens? Well, electricity wants to take the easiest path, the path of least resistance. And that easiest path for electricity is going to be through the metal skin of the car, and not you sitting inside here safely. It's called a Faraday cage, metal skin around you. A lot of people ask me, well, it's the rubber tires that insulate us. That's what keeps us safe inside of a car. Or I'm wearing rubber-soled shoes. That's what keeps me safe. No. Rubber-soled shoes do not keep you safe from lightning. The forces involved in lightning are so immense that what happens is when that lightning hits your car, that powerful electricity goes through the car, and then it will jump to the ground. The tires do absolutely nothing. They do not protect you from anything. It's the metal skin that's protecting you. Now, quite often they'll hit the antenna. I've seen pictures where the antennas have just been fried, and there'll be a mark on top of the car, but the people inside the car, they're fine. Russ, you got another?
Airplanes. Airplanes get hit by lightning once in a while, don't they?
They do. What are airplanes made out of?
Very thin metal?
Yes, yes. In fact, it's aluminum. Most of them are made out of aircraft aluminum, which is a great conductor of electricity. That's a good thing. You want that, because what happens is same thing as a car, with a plane. If an airplane, let's say the wing of your airplane gets struck by lightning, and that happens all the time, that electricity just passes through the metal skin of the airplane, doesn't impact anything else that has to do with the plane, and then just jumps on and continues on its path of least resistance to the cloud or to another ground, or to the ground. So that's right. Airplanes getting struck by lightning happens all the time, and most of the time you don't even know it.
Can you say hi to Jaden and Jordan?
Hey Jaden, hey Jordan, nice to have you with us today.
And we have one more question, and you kind of alluded to there with the plane, but Edison.
Hi Edison.
Or Edson, I'm not sure, maybe a typo. First grader in CFISD. Can lightning go through many clouds at the same time?
Edson, that's a great question. Absolutely. We have, there's such a thing as cloud-to-cloud lightning. You'll have one puffy cloud here, and it creates a lightning strike, and they don't always go to the ground. Sometimes you'll get another storm over here, and that lightning strike will jump from cloud to cloud, or sometimes it'll stay intra-cloud. It'll strike inside the cloud. I want to say the longest lightning strike ever recorded, something like 40 miles in length. It jumped from one cloud to another, traveled more than 40 miles. It may be even longer than that. But that's a great question. And Edison, yes, lightning can jump from cloud to cloud over tens, maybe even hundreds of miles without reaching the ground. Great question there.
One more interesting one.
Yes.
Cameron and Hudson want to know this.
Hey Cameron, hey Hudson.
So they're at the rec center. They're in an indoor pool.
Yeah.
Are they okay?
So, no. If there is lightning and thunder in the vicinity, even indoor pools should be evacuated. And wait for that storm to pass until you have not heard thunder for 30 minutes. That's because if lightning strikes that building that's around the pool, well, the electricity is going to travel through the metal plumbing, and some of that may connect to the pool. And so for safety's sake, they close indoor pools during lightning during lightning storms.
Water is just too good of a conductor.
It's exactly right. Russ, you get a gold star for that. So water is also a great conductor of electricity, especially with chlorine and salt in it. It makes it even more conductive. And so it is not safe to be in a pool, even an indoor pool, during a thunderstorm. You should get out and, let's see, I remember when my boys were very little, there was an indoor pool. What was that? I think it was Lifetime Fitness. And they would always close the pool when there was a thunderstorm, and my kids were very, very bummed about that, and so was Dad.
That means they couldn't swim all summer.
Exactly, that's right. In Houston, sometimes they go days without it. The most dangerous type of lightning that I want to make sure you guys understand are these bolts from the blue. These are these positive strikes. So again, here's the top of the storm, and here is a huge bolt of lightning jumping many, many miles away from where the actual storm cloud is. Here's the storm cloud. I'm not sure how many miles that is. That may be 5, 6, 7, 10 miles away. But you think the storm is past, it stopped raining, but just because it stops raining doesn't mean you're safe from lightning. You need to make sure you can no longer hear that thunder for about 30 minutes before you can consider going back out and resuming your outside activity. So where are you safe? Inside your home or school, inside a sturdy building. This office building that I'm in, we're perfectly safe from lightning inside here. Your car or your home, that's a safe place to be, inside. Inside your car, yes, because of that metal skin that's surrounding you. That's a safe place to be. What about a golf cart? Golfers? No. The golf carts are absolutely not safe to be in at all. In fact, quite often you're the tallest object on that open fairway in that golf cart. You want to make sure you find shelter inside a building that is surrounded by 4 walls. Even a metal shed is safer than a golf cart out on a golf course. So golf carts are not safe. The basic rule of thumb, this will keep you safe no matter what. When thunder roars, go indoors. Say it with me. 3, 2, 1. When thunder roars, go indoors. It rhymes. And when you hear thunder, go inside a home, your school, your place of business, something where you are surrounded by a sturdy building, and that will keep you safe, the safest from the electricity from lightning. All right, so that is a whole lot about lightning safety. Again, we've got these thunderstorms that are going to be rumbling in here this evening. In fact, here they are on the radar right now. We talked about how we do that lightning detection. We don't have any lightning near Houston, but there's more lightning popping up there south of Austin. All of this is going to be coming our way tonight. So, perfect time to have a lightning lesson when we got some lightning and thunder coming in here on Friday night. A rainy weekend as well. I've got a detailed forecast on the 411. KHOU 11 News at 4. That is, if the press conferences don't blow out a lot of the show, that's fine. We will be able to have weather updates live at 5 and 6, and of course at 10 o'clock, so we will see you then. All right, cool. Thank you.